What's up, everyone? Welcome to Plastic Cards Podcast, the show where we break down the video game news of the week. My name is Fonzie. I'm joined by my co-host, indie game dev extraordinaire, Gavin Jones. Gavin, how are you?
Apparently we're going.
Yes. Going live.
Good. I'm good. It's been an interesting we've been off for 2 weeks. So I don't know anything too crazy happened.
No, at least on my end. Did you do anything for Valentine's Day? We just had that over the weekend.
Sort of. I mean, I literally just started seeing someone, so I'm like, hey, let's just, I don't know.
It's always the weird, if you start during that, the biggest romantic holiday.
Well, I've done it before where it was like the person that was just like, hey, you've never seen Back to the Future, so let's just watch that. And that ended up being our tradition. So I'm like, all right, let's do something along those lines. But yeah, so this time I'm like, I don't know, let's watch horror movies. So we watched Dale and Tucker versus Evil.
Oh, that's a show, right?
It's a movie.
It's a movie, okay.
You may be thinking of Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Possibly. I know there's another like comical, zombie movie or show like that, but
Oh yeah. But Dale and Tucker versus Evil is basically a reverse horror movie where they're just they're two rednecks wanting to go camping at their new vacation home in the woods.
Yeah.
And then there's these teenagers that think they've stolen their friend when really they just saved her from drowning. And then these kids are trying to rescue their friend, but they keep dying in the process. So they're basically like dying at them. But from their perspective, these rednecks are murdering them. So it's kind of fun.
What? Okay.
It also has Alan Tudyk, which is always a good idea.
Who is that?
Wash from Firefly. Been bunches and bunches of stuff.
Oh yeah, so he's in a show that's coming on recently or happening recently where he's like an alien from another planet.
Resident Alien.
Yeah.
Start watching that. If you're gonna try it, the first 2 episodes are free on YouTube until tomorrow.
Okay.
So get on that like tonight.
Interesting.
But I started watching it. It's prime Alan Tudyk. It's astounding that he is not the best part of that show. The best part is the writing. It is astounding. Like if I were to just read the script, I would be laughing out loud. It is really well
That's
written.
with the Resident Alien, not the...
Yeah, Resident Alien. And then also watched Happy Death Day on Valentine's Day, which is fucking delightful.
I've never seen that.
Ooh,
there was two
it's
of them, right?
fun.
There's
there's 2. I don't know how the fuck the plot in the second one's gonna work, but the plot in the first one was great.
That one, I remember watching the trailer and it looked like it could go either way. That works.
Top notch.
Okay.
Top notch. What about you? What have you been up to besides gaming this week? Or these last 2 weeks?
Yeah, playing some games, but watching some stuff. We ended up watching a good amount of documentaries we watched. But yeah, we were talking about TV shows. Oh, you know what? I was watching the Night Stalker doc. It's on Netflix with Richard Ramirez, the serial killer dude. And it's nuts. Did you hear anything about it or watch any of that?
This is my first time hearing any of these words.
Oh, he's like one of the most notorious serial killers. It's in LA in like the early 90s, late 80s, something around there. But he went on this killing spree and was just never caught. He went like for a whole series of months and they just could not find him, could never find any evidence. And he just went on this fucking tear through LA and scared people for months. But yeah, it's a super interesting doc and it's terrible, but it's a really interesting story. But it's also related to this Cecil Hotel, which is in LA, which is this hotel they eventually figured out that he was hiding at. But it's this notorious like crazy hotel that a bunch of people will kind of find refuge at, and it's in this weird spot in LA. It's got a bunch of murders and weird stuff tied to it, and just like it's just a really strange hotel with a bunch of history. But there's another doc about that we're watching now. Super interesting. Do you ever look at, I don't know if you go through the YouTube rabbit hole of like missing persons cases or like strange cases, but there's one that's well known with this lady. She went missing for a while, but there was like surveillance cameras of her kind of like losing her mind in this hotel, and then she just like disappeared. But they just had those surveillance footage of her rummaging through the hotel, and she was a normal like college student that was just hanging out in LA, and all of a sudden stopped using her phone. And the last footage they had of her was just like looking like she was running away from someone in the hotel. You ever see that? It's pretty big. I forget her name, but it's the doc that's about Cecil Hotel is piecing together what happened to her. They eventually find her like in the hotel. And spoilers, she's dead. But it's a pretty nuts story. Yeah, you got to watch it. What else did we watch? Balls Deep and WandaVision. right now.
I'm about to take the leap.
I highly suggest it. Man, I love it.
My sister Georgia is trying to get me in on it, and that's the thing. If I don't start watching something, she's gonna spoil it for me. She's the spoiler queen.
Mhm.
Um, so I should probably just take the dive. I do know the first 3 episodes are supposed to be kinda boring, and then it just, like,
I didn't
all
find
of a
them
sudden it
boring, but
picks up at episode 4. I
yeah,
didn't realize they're not all 45-minute episodes.
they're not.
That's basically what I expect from all digital content now, so it's kinda nice, aside from, like, Letterkenny or something like that, but, so it is kinda nice that we can do something shorter. We can
It
knock those out quick.
it works except for the episodes where they start to reveal some, like, big stuff in the MCU. Those episodes are the ones that go with, like, 20 minutes, and you're just left going, "Hey, what the hell?" I wanna they always end on a cliffhanger.
Am I gonna understand any of that, though?
You will because you have a general understanding of the MCU. It's not like they reference stuff that you won't know what's going on, but it hits that much more if you do know of the little bits that are going on. But you'll be fine. Either way, I think you'll have a good time. Yeah, they're really piecing together like what's been happening between movies with this show. It's really awesome. And then what's her face Olsen, forget her name. Um, she
Elizabeth?
is yeah, Elizabeth
Yeah.
Olsen. She is wife number 2 for me, man. She was I'll follow her to the end of the world.
I saw pictures of her as, like, in her costume as herself, I guess, for Halloween or something,
Yeah.
and that is, someone better call the fire department because that's a smoke show right there.
Yeah. It's worth the price of admission for her alone, and the acting's super, dope. She's awesome in it. I forget the guy's name who plays Vision, but he's awesome in it too, and I just really, really dig it. And I love that they're every episode or every series of episodes, they kind of tackle like the different tropes throughout the years of TV. So they start with like Bewitched in that 50s, 60s era, and then they move to like eventually the 90s sitcoms and make fun of those, the 2000 sitcoms with like even Stevens and that kind of thing,
Oh boy.
or Malcolm in the Middle. And so they're always like riffing on the various like eras of TV shows. It just really works. I really dig it.
Huh.
But yeah, you got to watch it. But yeah, watching shows, and we did go. We didn't tell you we went to Seattle over the weekend, and that's when it happened to snow
Oh, jeez.
a crazy amount, and we ended up because we had the ticket already booked, and we couldn't refund or whatever, so we just drove, and it was fine. Like it worked out, but it was definitely dangerous. Like as we're driving, there's semis and cars that are just crashed in the snow and like covered with snow if they were there for like weeks or whatever. If it was like The Walking Dead, but we made it out alive. And
What was the ticket to? What'd you guys go see?
just this, we just went to a hotel. It was for Megan's birthday. We wanted to do something finally because it's that series of hotels I always tell you about in the Northwest called McMinimans. They're super
Oh,
dope,
right, right, right.
and we haven't been in like a year. And we thought it'd be cool to go. It's all isolated too. It's like once you get there, they have their own restaurant on site, their own like little bar area where they make their own wine and coffee and beer, and it's just super dope. You don't have to leave the place, and which we did not. But it was cool, and it snowed a bunch there too. But, we were able to take Lilu, our little dog, and it was our first time going out in a hotel, and he loved it, and it was cool. Had a blast.
You play any games?
I played a bunch of Killzone. I think I've had my fill with Killzone, and finally we got to the end of Killzone. We were playing it for, the L2R2 PlayStation podcast, and we're trying to tackle, like, a different PlayStation game every week. We just kinda happened to start with Killzone and decided to play them all, and finally
Doing it
finished
almost like a book club at that
pretty
point.
much that's what we
Well,
call
I
it,
feel like there's
PlayStation
less
Book Club.
pressure in book clubs to do it in, like, a week. That's a pretty short time span.
Well, the pressure isn't we try to, beat it in a week, but really in a week get a good like output or input on what we think the game, is. So whether we finish it or not, that's just the goal is to kind of play a good amount of it. But yeah, it's fun. I think I like the other kill zones rather than Shadowfall, which was the last one we played. But yeah, it's cool to finally beat those. I've always meant to play them, and the story is, pretty decent for the most part, and the engine, I just love the engine on the second and third, where it's just crazy beautiful for what they were trying to do with like PS3 hardware. It was pretty nuts.
3 alone, like, as big a jump as 2 was, and that was a huge fucking jump,
Right.
3 is somehow on the same system, a ginormous leap.
Yep. Yeah, there's games like say The Last of Us. They get a lot of praise too for absolutely like draining any power left in that system in the
Yeah.
PS3. And but Killzone was right up there with it too, where they're just using every ounce of power. Shows. Sure. You're telling me you played a bunch of stuff. What'd you play?
I played a bunch of stuff, so let's pull up YouTube, and we're gonna go through some footage here as fast as we
YouTube.com.
humanly can. I'm very curious what's about to happen with that clip that you had up there.
Oh,
Alright, So, there was a demo thingy last week, I wanna say, where there was a bunch they were highlighting a ton of demos on Steam, and every time they do this,
Okay.
there are way too many demos, but at the same time, that kinda makes it fun because you get to pop in, maybe you find something good, probably you won't, but maybe you do, and some of these demos, are still up, so I would
Okay.
totally encourage you to at least try one of them. And then I bought too many games because again, I should just be finishing Cyberpunk, but my brain's just going, "Nah,
Say
let's
less, man. I'm right there with you. So yeah.
well, you've beaten Cyberpunk, haven't
Yeah,
you?"
but just the whole plight of buying more games when you have way more you need to finish. Yeah.
Right. So, of demos I played, well, I'm not gonna do all the demos right off the bat, but games I returned to, Deep Rock Galactic, I've been playing a lot more, you don't need to look that one up,
Oh, we looked
but
it up last time. Yeah, it looked really cool.
yeah, it's like Left 4 Dead, but in these procedurally generated caves. It's so much fun, and I'm so very bad at it. So I'm very thankful to the people that have been carrying me. But speaking of, there's a game I'm somehow got to convince you to drop $40 on.
Okay.
It's called Remnant from the Ashes.
Sounds
Um,
familiar.
we've looked at it before. It's been described as Gun Souls or Dark Souls with guns. And I know you weren't liking that one game, Immortal Shell. You weren't loving the Dark Souls aspects of
Sure.
that. But this so I was it was hard as balls and it was whooping my ass. And then I turned on public lobby and like two people joined and rolling through these areas reminded me of like doing LAN parties with my buddies in high school or college where we all just pile into Diablo 2 and we're just rolling through dungeons willy-nilly. So this really reminded me of that. It was just a bunch of bros just rolling through these dungeons. It's super hard. It scales up the enemies for whoever has the highest gear score. But it's a blast to play. It's super duper satisfying. I think you would have a ton of fun playing co-op with this.
Now, is it mostly melee with the combat, or is there? I think I did see some like futuristic weapons and stuff. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay.
you have two different weapons, and then you also have your melee at any point in time.
Gotcha.
And the control scheme on that is fantastic. Um, and it's got like the S2 slash system style system, but it's just a lot of fun. And you're encouraged to use both melee and range for different situations. Fuck, it's fun, and it's really pretty on PC. I don't think the footage really does it justice,
Sure.
for
Now,
what it's
don't let me
worth.
forget. I'm down to play this.
Okay, but it is like a $40 game. That's the only
Kevin,
thing.
it's just a
So,
drop in the bucket, man. When you're gone like me.
um, so yeah, it's super duper fun. Moving on ahead. So I also downloaded this game called Elijah, spelled Olija,
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
and I'm liking it. I at first when I was looking at footage of it, I'm like, I don't get why people think um this reminded me of there are some old, like, Super Nintendo games that were really well animated,
Yeah.
and I can get the comparison, but now having played it now, I get it. But the combat's really fun. The whole spear system, you chuck the spear and then you teleport to the spear. It's super duper fun, and the puzzles they're not hard, but they're interestingly made,
Gotcha.
and they're kinda fun to solve, so
Yeah, this one was on my radar. I just seem to have forgotten about it, but I
yeah.
know it's on. I think on everything because I know it's on Switch. I imagine PC as well. Probably
Mhm.
console. This.
Yeah, it's good. The only thing I would change, I would double the fucking resolution. The low resolution does not do this game any favors.
Gotcha.
So that kind of bugs me. A couple of demos I did Dead Estate, which I remember recommend looking up. I tried these two demos. These are both great demos. Visually, gameplay wise, throw them in the bin. But look how like yeah, you skip ahead. This is super good looking. Can we get to some enemies here? No?
Reminds me of like a Hotline Miami, just asymmetric, I guess.
I could see that. It played a little bit more like Binding of Isaac if Binding of Isaac was shit. I never got hit by an enemy once, even during a boss battle. They just slowly march at you. It's really not fun, but it's visually gorgeous.
Okay.
So that and it has a ton of juice. Like you can see how springy and springy everything is. So that one made me sad.
Got
The
that
next one will
juice.
probably skip as well. But there was DACA Squad, which is like a Warhammer 40K flight sim where you play as the orcs, which are
Whoa.
just like soccer hooligans. But it's not worth
Okay.
looking into.
Yeah.
I've also been playing a bunch of Knife of Dunwall, which is the Dishonored 1 DLC.
Oh yeah. Because
So I've been told this is one of the greatest DLCs of all
now
time.
is it all their DLCs really well renowned, or is it just like this one especially?
This one especially, but I think all of them. So there's 2 that you this is the story of the guy who kills the empress at the very beginning, and after that, and sort of his regret of what he did. Because basically, from what I'm gathering from this and the interactions with the outsider is, I guess, like, the outsider picked this guy because he seemed like he was a good guy as well,
Okay,
or at least not a bad guy, but when he killed the empress, that's when it seems like the outsider turned on him and
gotcha.
went, what's his face?
Yeah, I do forget the story, but I remember loving this game.
Oh, yeah. It is weird. He is also not as he doesn't move as like, he doesn't run as fast, and he doesn't jump as high as what's his face?
The main protagonist.
W we can
Oh, that was just me. Own being my own fan.
um,
What else you got?
uh, played The Pathless.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
need to. Damn it, there's so many games stacking up. Yeah,
it's
how are you
it's
liking it?
so it plays really, really fun. I like the control scheme is super duper simple. The puzzles are kind of fun, but just moving around the world, shooting these little thingy-majigs. The boss battle, I've only done 1 boss battle so far, but it was way better than I expected. I didn't know how they were gonna do combat in this game
Mm,
because you're just running around shooting these things,
right.
and that was super duper fun. I highly recommend this game. I feel like there's a way you can get it for free, but I could be wrong. But
It
yeah,
was on
totally
sale
w
for a bit on the PlayStation Network. I think
yeah,
it's only around 20, $30 something. But
it's
is
not
it
bad.
the vibe I got was yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Panzer Dragoon games.
Uh-huh.
And those are way more on rails, but is this kind of it seems like more open world, but is it somewhat of a like they're funneling you down, the path and how you're maneuvering, or it's like you have kind of full availability of where you want to go?
No, so they put you on, like, different plateaus at a time, and it's just these big areas where you need to go around, gather these it's basically it's almost like somebody took, like a one of those hunter gatherer, collect them up like platformer and just made it super artsy. Because you're really just solving these puzzles so you can get these icons, so you can activate these towers, and once you activate all the towers, you get to fight the boss. Um, yeah, so you have these big plateaus, you get the things in whatever order you like, and you just enjoy the super satisfying movement system. And God, it just feels cool.
Does it punish you
Oh, and
for
you can pet a bird. You get to pet the
you
bird.
had me
This
at
is
pet the bird?
important.
Does it punish you at all for like when you slow down, or is it really like an emphasis on movement where you want to stay moving, or is there any negative aspect of that? It's like where you have to be moving.
I mean, you're gonna have to slow down for a lot of the puzzles, but it
Okay,
just feels bad.
gotcha.
Um,
When you are slowing down,
right. So
like a Sonic issue with.
exactly. Why would you not go fast?
Yeah. No, this is
Um,
that's another thing on my radar. I gotta play this.
it's so cool. And I think that brings me to my last thing that I played. That dude, you need to check out this demo. It's still on Steam. I don't know if you're gonna like it, but you might like it and you might get addicted to it. It's called Loop Hero.
Loop Hero.
If you haven't seen it,
Lou
it's
Ferrigno?
yes, Loop Hero.
Okay.
This game is
Interesting.
fucking good. And here's the thing that does piss me off about this game. 100% of every article I've read about it has described it incorrectly.
Okay.
They're like, "Oh, it's like a roguelike game." No, it's fucking not.
It's not you kind of put on your mansplaining pants at all? It's
Well, like, look at this. So, like, that path, right, that's there
yeah.
is, like, randomly generated, and then you make the rest of the world. That's on you. That's
Okay.
not procedurally generated. That's fucking handcrafted by the player, which is neat. Like, and you got this guy who's just going around the loop. And so you're building, you're adding to the map and you're putting in dangers. But if you put in certain dangers, then you'll get loot on the right side of the screen. And you use your loot to make your character more powerful so
Okay.
you can fight more monsters. And eventually, once you build up enough of this world, then you get to fight the boss. And the boss is super duper hard. I basically beat it by cheating. I don't know whether this mechanic was intended.
Hmm.
Um,
Already aimbotted the game.
well, there was I could level up and I could get this like full shield on leveling up.
Okay.
And so I waited to level up until right before I got to the boss. Um,
Gotcha.
but
This
yeah,
one I've never seen anything on it. It also kind of looks confusing, even though you've explained it to me. It seems like it's just a bit different when I'm trying to like break down the gameplay. But
well, and that's the thing. That's why I didn't like these articles I've read about it because they keep trying to put it in a hole,
ah,
and it fits in zero hole. They call it like a card game, and yeah, it's got cards, but it's not really about cards. You
Yeah, I see
know?
the little, card things that do pop up, but apparently they're
Yeah.
not. You're saying that they've got it all wrong.
Oh, they're very important. Well, and that's why I think the best description I've seen is on their Steam page. They call it a card game, but they don't describe it. Everyone calls it like a deck building game. It's not a deck building game. It's closer to a CCG, but if nothing else, it's just a card game. I wouldn't
Okay.
describe it as either. They describe it as an RPG. That's great. It's not a roguelite. It's an RPG.
I feel like we're splitting, nerdy hairs at this point.
They're very important hairs. I would describe, and other people are calling it an idle game. There's nothing idle about it. I'm going nonstop when I'm playing it. I can't just leave this on in the background and come back in 45 minutes.
Right. Gotcha.
But yeah, it's super duper fun. I really like it. It's basically like a reverse tower defense.
Okay. I
But
see. I
you're
can start to wrap my caveman brain around that.
yeah. So you're trying to build up just the right amount of challenge to power yourself up, but not so powerful you're
Gotcha.
gonna murder yourself. And which is tough because a lot of times by the time you get to the final boss, you've just stacked waves of enemies in front of you.
Yeah.
And good luck to even getting to the boss. So this is something I recommend you check it out. I think I don't even know who to describe who this game is for because there's
Yeah.
literally there is nothing like this. I have never played a game like this. It's fucking cool.
Gives me a little bit of a vibe, and maybe not even really, but there was that one game where it's Baba is you. I want to say
Oh,
where you're kind
just
of,
from the simplistic
I
graphics, I would
guess,
say.
part of that, but also the kind of change up on, I guess, what you would expect with like the gameplay or something, or kind of
Right.
crafting their own like little genre almost. But
Mhm.
I do get those vibes from.
The other thing I think is cool is the story. It's got this Lovecraftian, I want to say it's in like a Lovecraftian universe, and it's dealing with like this world. You've been transported into this alternate dimension, and everything is forgotten. And so the story builds within this. That's actually what you're doing. You're remembering mountains being there. You're remembering the camp being there. So
Oh,
that's how you're
okay,
building this world. So yeah, it's super cool.
interesting.
Highly recommend checking it.
I probably will never play that, but I respect it.
Well, there's a free demo right now.
There's no excuse.
Right.
Speaking of that, I know you told me I got to download Killer Queen Black. That's one game that I don't know if I have any desire to play it, but I know you really
I
dig
mean,
it.
it'll take you 5 minutes to download, and it'll take
Yeah.
you, like, 5 minutes maybe for a full round.
Okay. So you can quickly kind of
Um,
understand. And I mean, not like it is hard to understand. It's just, I don't know if I have a big, if these games always like pull me in necessarily.
this one's it's so intense. It's like I remember playing it, I had to take breaks because I was so intense playing this game.
Mm.
It takes 110% of your focus, but it's a fun arcadey style game, and the original was meant to be played on an arcade cabinet with how many players is this? Was it
So
like
far,
4 per side?
hard to tell with like the enemies and stuff, but yeah, maybe four at least.
Yeah, which is a lot for an arcade game.
Yeah.
So,
Gotcha.
but
Maybe I'll play.
it's free. It'll take you no time to
If
download.
they just get, is this on Epic or it's on Xbox or whatever?
Xbox Game Pass, and
If
that's
Phil
what.
Spencer, shows up in the nighttime and just downloads it for me and I wake up and it's ready to go and my hands on the controller, I think I'll give it a shot then. But it's like too many hurdles to
Now the question
download.
is, do you have the Game Pass app? Okay.
I don't. I have it on Xbox and PC, but not on my phone.
Okay.
Do you?
As of tonight, I do, and apparently it does have remote download.
Oh, there you go.
Well, that's what I was saying. You were like, press the button to download. I'm like,
I want Phil Spencer himself to
okay,
to
fair
have
enough.
breakfast
Fair
ready and Killer Queen Black downloaded on my Xbox.
enough.
Otherwise, I'm not playing.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, Gavrani, we do have some news we can jump into. It's
Let's
quite a
dig
bit.
in. Ooh,
What happens when we take
I
2 weeks off?
like this one. This is an interesting meatball.
Interesting meatball indeed, Gavin. So we got some news on The Last of Us casting for HBO. So The Last of Us HBO series reveals Ellie and Joel. So this is Joe Otterson of Variety.com. The upcoming Last of Us series adaptation at HBO has cast Pedro Pascal as Joel and Bella Ramsey in the role of Ellie. Pascal has seen great success as a star of The Mandalorian. Ramsey is best known for her role as Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones. I've watched that show and I don't know how to pronounce her name. The Last of Us series was first announced in development back in March, with the show landing a formal series order in November. How do you feel about this casting, Gavin?
Fantastic.
Right?
Yeah.
So, are you big kind of negative Nancy when it comes to, do these casting choices always have to match like one for one the character, or do they have liberties to just find the best actors?
I don't really have enough context to like answer that. That's the thing. Like, how many like well made. Like the closest I think we've gotten was like Angelina Jolie as Tomb Raider.
Sure, that was more like on the nose. She was a good fit, but they're really trying to get someone who like looked like her one for one. But with the Bella Ramsey character, which I have her picture on the thing here, but she's from Game of Thrones. She doesn't quite look like her, but she's a very very dope actor. And then you have Pedro Pascal, who is on top of the world right now, and he's an amazing actor. He doesn't one for one look like Joel, but he doesn't have to. Like at the end of the day, these are still fictional people, and I like that they're deviating. I would have liked them to even deviate more. Like there was rumors that this other actor was going to play Joel, who would have been way different of a choice. Man, I'm blanking on the actual actor now. He was going to play. He's set to play Blade in the new remake, and he's in a bunch of actors or in a bunch of movies. But he's black, and when that was circulating, it was like that would have been a really cool choice to like completely change it a bit, and I would have been super down for that. I want them to kind of almost like separate a bit from the games themselves because the game's already so cinematic. Like we don't need them to retell the same story in the game form. But yeah, I mean they change it a bit, but they didn't stray like too far away from what these characters look like.
Right. I mean, the other thing too with this universe is we don't necessarily need the story to be Joel and Ellie's.
Well, I mean, I think yeah, I could have seen other actors, in this role or like other characters. Like it would have been fine
Right.
if they followed other characters for sure. They don't have to follow these, but if they like popped in every once in a while, I think that could have been cool too.
Yeah, this is a pretty game.
You've still yet to play this. You got to play it or finish it rather.
Right, right. Um, yeah, but as far as those two go, I think it's fine. I really like Pedro Pascal. No idea who Bella Ramsey is, or
Yeah, she was in Game of Thrones. She played this character that had taken over control of this kingdom. Like she was like the next heir to rule this kingdom in one of their many kingdoms in that world. And she was still like, 10 years old, 12 years old or whatever.
is
But
she the
she's
one who
this
has the messed up side of her face?
no, there's another there's like an older guy character that is like that.
No, there's a little girl that has like scales on half of
Oh,
her
you're right.
face.
No, it's not her. No.
Okay,
But she
I don't
basically
think I got that far in the
oh,
show
okay.
to see her then.
But she basically rules this kingdom and she's this 12-year-old badass and she's awesome in the show. But yeah, I think she would be perfect for this. I wonder what they do with like eventually they follow it to The Last of Us 2, right? And Ellie's way older than that character currently is. So are they going to wait a good amount of time to tackle that next, sequel to the game and wait for them to like age up a little bit?
I mean, do they need to, or could they just get an older actor?
They could, but I don't think they're going to change gears. But either way, like me and Callum were talking about this, this is just the casting choices they revealed, but they're throwing a with this showing the characters that they've or the actors rather they've chosen, they're throwing a bunch of money at the series. HBO is. So I can't wait to see this. And we haven't even seen a glimpse of what are the clickers going to look like because they're going to have way more production value to make these clickers look nuts. And then also the world like look degraded the way it needs to be and like really just fully fleshed out. So I cannot wait.
Something looking at her picture again, I haven't seen her in anything, but I think if you were to recast with somebody to play older Ellie, you could probably do Millie Bobby Brown. That's a lot of chat going on.
Yeah, I got most of my family in the chat talking to them.
Oh boy.
Yeah, got the whole chat laughing.
um,
But yeah,
yeah, could be. I hope it's good. I wish nothing. I
me
also
too.
think HBO just puts out good stuff.
They do, and you got the main director Neil Druckmann is writing and producing this with HBO, so it's like it's in good hands. They know that they can't screw this up because there's so much on this is a huge property, like they cannot mess this up. Also, I trust they're going to do a good job. But also with them barely getting the casting together, I think we're going to be waiting a good 2 years maybe before we see the show. It's going to be a while, and then with COVID, throw that into the mix, like bogging everything down. It's going to be a long wait to see this.
Yeah, but the clickers will be real though.
They might be with Corona, 2048 or whatever it's going to be on. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Can't wait for that, Gavin. So we got the next one here, Gavin, is Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 trends on social media ahead of Nintendo Direct broadcast. So this I pulled from let's see,
Buddy.
NintendoLife.com. Really just kind of breaking down the anticipation for some Zelda news. But with that impending news tomorrow, they're going to have their first Nintendo Direct that they've had in what you mentioned, like 500 days or something. It's been a
Over
while.
500 days. And they said, like, whatever they were going up to in E3, they said, we're getting rid of the full size Nintendo Directs. We're basically just doing minis from here on out.
Yeah.
So this is going back, going ham. If you're going to do that, you got to bring, and these minis aren't always that mini.
That's true. They throw some pretty big, like indie juggernauts in there too.
Oh, yeah, I'm calling it. This Nintendo Direct, 50-minute Nintendo Direct.
What do you think we see?
These are the big guns. We're definitely seeing Zelda, and you've seen how many times I poo-pooed the idea of seeing Zelda pop up. I kept saying it was too soon. It was too soon. We're ready. This is happening tomorrow, and if I'm wrong, I'll be very surprised. But right, I'm calling it hard right now. It's happening tomorrow.
I really want to believe you because I think it's time to reveal this game. I just know by history shows that they really it's like the internet overhypes these events and then they don't kind of fulfill what everybody wants. But with Zelda, they're in a special case where it's time to reveal it. They revealed this what 3 years ago, maybe?
God, is that
Maybe
right? That
even
might be
4,
right.
and I think it's been long enough. You can at least give us a date, and maybe it's not even 2021, but you can give us a date, 2022, at least show that, like, they've made some strides. Let's see some gameplay maybe, but I think it's time to show them.
I think it's time for the mechanic. That's the thing. We
True.
last time it was the Chica slate. What's our mechanic this time? Hopefully it lets us manipulate physics in stupid ways again. Because that's I mean, we've gotten so many amazing videos
Oh, yeah.
out of Zelda.
One I didn't pull up, but I just read this morning and watched a video of it. There was this Twitch streamer that completed the game 100% without taking any damage at all in Zelda.
I heard about that. I have no clue how that's
He
possible.
does
That
lay it
is
out in the Twitch video, but he takes it, like, step by step and how it shows how, like, cumbersome and trial and error ridden it is, but it's crazy to do, but yeah,
100%. I wonder how many hours that took.
it's in that Twitch, and I wish I would've had it, loaded up, but he mentions, like, it took weeks, 6 weeks because you would the goal or the idea was if you fail, you have to, like, restart. So if you could take
Right.
and that's not even fail, like, if you take any damage, you have to restart because he wanted a whole playthrough of no damage whatsoever.
Oh, this is so something that's popped up here, but there's a trailer for Mario World or Mario 3D World, Bowser's Fury. This game came out this week.
Yeah,
I really want to get it. I
me
honestly
too.
should. We should totally play this because it's co-op, right? The main.
I believe so, but I think when it's co-op, you're playing as Bowser Jr. and you just kinda paint the
No, well,
world or
that's
something.
Bowser's
Oh,
Fury,
you're
but
right.
in the main one, yeah, you can go up to 4. And I hear the original like this is one of the main reasons, one of the real big reasons people are upset at the Wii U because there was this amazing game and absolutely no one played. So it's really good that we get a second go around and can actually play that. But I hear with Bowser's Fury, a lot of people think this is sort of like it was with Link Between Worlds, where they're kind of trying out an experiment and seeing if people are on board with
Yeah,
what they're doing here. And I was even watching Donkey's review for it earlier, and he's just like, when you want to like, you're in this small overworld. When you want to go to a level, you pop in this pipe, you pop up, and you're literally there instantly.
gotcha. Because it's all
Which
one big world.
yeah, it's all one big world. So they messed with it there with that. I think they messed with it a little bit with the new Paper Mario as well. So hopefully they're not going to get Ubisoft-itis and just make everything giant worlds.
Sure.
But yeah, people were excited about that being maybe the promise of something bigger.
I think I'm more excited for that Bowser's Fury part. Yeah, where it's this open world where you can kind of choose how you tackle stuff, and then Bowser's eventually like shows up. It's a timed event or it's constantly happening where he grows into this large monster and you have to deal with him. But then him showing up will unlock these blocks that can't be unlocked otherwise. So it's like this kind of risk reward thing. Then you have the cat suit stuff. I'm really excited. I don't know if I'll how long I'll wait to get this, but I did buy the collection, like the Super Mario 64 and Sunshine collection, and haven't really touched it. So I don't know if this will also be the same case. I'm a little weary, but I do want to play this.
Right. Well, at least this will play better with your those other games sort of had issues with the controller, how they weren't really meant to be played on
Sure.
it. Whereas this is it's gonna work just fine. I think the only thing that maybe plays well is touchscreens controls for some of the situations, but
Gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah, I want them to keep leaning harder into bringing these games that were doomed on the Wii U or the Wii U. I want to bring them to Switch. So like, there's others that
I
although
think
they've
this is the last one, I
you're
feel
right.
like.
There was a time where like there was a bunch of them, but now they've brought a lot of them over, and I can't think of what else is stuck there really. You know what?
Uh,
There is Zelda, which got a remaster on Wii U, but it's the Zelda Wind Waker. I think I would love to see that on
oh,
Switch.
yeah, that's fair. That's a good idea. Yeah, that would be but if you're doing that, we might as well throw in, I don't know, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Let's
For
get
sure.
the DS version.
That's one thing people are theorizing. Do we see a Zelda collection for that Nintendo Direct tomorrow? That'd be dope, right?
I wouldn't hesitate. I will not hesitate, bitch. I would be on that in a millisecond. Give me that. Just I will take the 3DS graphics for Majora's Mask. I want people to play that game. It's an amazing game that not enough people have played. Ah.
Yep.
I'm hyped for tomorrow. I wonder what time it's at.
A good question. I didn't look it up, but I think it's at a time that people will be awake for,
Right,
and
probably
some people
while
will
I'm
be
at work.
asleep for.
Although my coworker I was supposed to be training right now, is currently out of the office.
So just on stream on
So
Twitch
yeah,
the whole
it's gonna
time.
be minimized corner. Gonna be
Thanks, Kevin. I'll give some attention to some of the people in the chat, mostly my family, but Queen Bunny
Thank you for
also.
joining us.
Yes, thank you very much. Queen Bunny in the chat mentioned Bowser is just in it for the drama and the friendship, which I don't disagree with.
He is a drama queen. He's absolutely. I think a drama queen is what makes a really good villain, though.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. He never really gets over. He's always chasing after what's her face princess, and it's a kind of a creepy thing at this point. But that's what you.
Till he turns into Bowsette.
Yeah,
Is that the first? Is that the first form of Bowsette? And then it's
that would
like
be cool.
Digimon, where they're like final form, they get small again. But
I don't know much about Digimon. It was always just kind
oh,
of like this
buddy,
weird knockoff version of Pokemon. Like
it was nothing to do with Pokemon.
but they
Except
both blew up at the same time. And it's like, yeah, I'm going
they
Pokemon, man. I'm not
did.
going Digimon.
Yeah. Although there's plenty of room for both, but Digimon was superior.
Oh boy,
At least
that's a
at least in the
statement.
anime, video games, I could not give a crap
Oh, it's not
about
even a
Digimon the
conversation.
video
Yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah.
But the anime was oof.
But we got also Ultima Zord, which I'm pretty sure is Brandon. You figure after 30 years, Bowser would get tired of abducting the princess. Yeah, at this point, they need to kind of switch it up. And maybe this one, with at least with the Bowser's Fury side, he has another reason why he's terrorizing and not just trying to take Princess Peach again. But I don't know. I'm just hoping that at least now he has a different reason. But it's always like in the last Mario on Switch, not Sunshine, but I forget what it's called. But on Switch, he's trying to marry Princess Peach, and she's not having it, so he just takes her again. But it's like it's just getting weird at this point. Maybe some other kind of reason why terrorizing.
Man, this it is looking like one big open. The thing that's surprising me as well is Super Mario 3D World is fixed camera.
Mm,
And
right.
this very much looks like a dynamic camera, almost more like whatchamacall,
Like Breath of the Wild or something where it's all 3D, or Super Mario 64 or something like that.
what's the newest Galaxy
Yeah,
or Odyssey? Yeah, yeah,
Odyssey.
yeah.
There we go. Yeah,
Huh. This is a lot different than I was expecting. Well, now I'm more interested again. Damn.
yeah.
I got another game for me to not beat.
Right. That's the thing. Like I bought that collection and I really didn't touch it much, and so it's like, do I want to buy this and also let it sit by the wayside? I don't know, but I guess I got tons of money I could burn. I could just bucks. Yeah, that's happening tomorrow. We'll see what they announce. I'm pretty excited, but I'm also keeping my expectations super low so that if they hurt me again, not going to be it. Alrighty, Gavin. Let's jump to this one real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen this? So this
I
new
have.
Unreal Engine tech is mind blowing. So I wanted to get your take on it just because it's insane.
So, and here's the thing. Uh it's very impressive, and I think we will probably actually see this in games before too long. A lot of times you see stuff it'll probably look slightly worse than this. But I don't think this is too far off from doable if you manage sort of like the level of detail of stuff in the background, what's going on in the foreground. And this could be like more what we'll see next gen, but I think we'll see some of this at least at the end of this generation, and maybe some previews of it now, especially I think the mouth, the way they model the muscles and how realistically people
Mm.
move. We're basically there. If you go back and look at Injustice, what is it, 2?
Oh, sure. Yeah, the
Yeah.
facial animations are nuts.
Yeah, they have those hyper realistic facial. I feel like this is very much in line with that. So I think at least we'll get that, and that will get rid of a lot of uncanny valley having those.
I think yeah, this is the gen where we see a lot of that go by the wayside. And so we're talking about this tech here. So I'll have the article kind of explaining it really quickly. Sammy Barker from PushScore.com. Epic Games has announced Meta Human Creator, a new cloud-based extension of the Unreal Engine, which which will allow developers to design high fidelity models faster than ever before. The technology has been designed for both animated movies and video games. And you can get a glimpse of the potential in the video we're talking about right now. But yeah, it's crazy, highly realistic. It's all in engine, I guess, in this tech. I don't know what you need to power it if this is still locked to, current gen stuff. That's one thing I'm wondering too. Is this going to be locked to UE5, which is still we've only seen little glimpses of it, or is this now doable in UE4?
That's a good question. I think here's one thing that always bugs me. Why do the teeth always look weird in these?
I guess teeth is the next, because eyes they have pretty much down now, and eyes used to be this really hard thing to accomplish, but teeth and mouth movements are always really tricky. Like to
Yeah.
get lips moving like actually how they should look in real life.
Yeah, they tend to be a little exaggerated,
Yeah,
these things. But I mean, the
like
mouth
yours.
is basically there with this. The subsurface scattering on the skin looks fantastic. Like look at that old lady on the left. Like that.
Yeah, the wrinkles, and they'll have the proper lighting on the wrinkles, and they're moving the lighting in real time, and it's I think this will, if anything, it'll speed up a lot of this development time for various games where they can manipulate stuff way faster. It's not going to take a ton of time anymore, so they can hopefully we can get games a little bit closer out of the door. At least get this part of development done and out of the way. Yeah, I can't wait to see this stuff in action. But so far, it's just a demo of what can be done. Got that, but that was pretty dope. Gavin Stadia ain't dead yet. Okay, I got the next one here.
I was just watching a video on how they're dead.
Okay, well, let's see. Its hands coming out of the grave. Google,
Yeah, I saw this.
Google Stadia to get more than 100 games in 2021. This is Wesley LeBlanc of IGN. Google has announced that a slew of new games will be coming to Stadia in the near future, and that over 100 games are to be added to the service by the end of 2021. Google recently announced that it would shut down its internal studios for Stadia, despite not releasing a single game from them. In the same breath, it also stated that more games would hit the service. So at least that's, this is good news for if you have a Stadia account. I guess still you get 100 games in 2021. Do you think this it's still the nails in the coffin? It's done.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I still think it's pretty cool. Like, can you imagine like a service putting out like one game for every single user they have over the course of a year? Like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
The thing that this I noticed when I started digging into like the comment section is just like, well, the thing they're not really bringing up is most of these are games that have been out for a while.
Sure, you're getting, yeah, kind of at least the last year, the year before, that kind of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so you're getting that, and yeah, 100 games of a year is such a small flex. Like, there's probably going to be 100 games released on Steam tonight.
Yeah, and although it's a different conversation where maybe it's almost oversaturation with Steam, they have their own issues, but they still have way more, interesting titles than you could argue that Stadia has. And also with Stadia, they have this they're stuck in this really old school model where you pay just to get access to it, then you have to pay to buy the games themselves too, and I can't figure out why they don't go full Netflix. There must be reasons, but they're just past me where just let me pay 10 bucks a month, 15 bucks a month. I get access to everything. I'll let that subscription roll every year or every month. Like I don't even think twice about it. But they're resistant to adopt that. And I think that's what's hurting them and going to let people leave the service or not even try it to begin with.
I mean, that's very expensive to do. Like, the fact that Microsoft's giving as much as they are, and again, some of that stuff goes away over time.
It is, but you gotta lose money to make money. It's like I don't think Netflix was profitable for a while. A lot of these startups don't make money for a while. They're in the hole, but that's how you get these subscribers. And now going forward, like that's the name of the game. How many subscribers do you have? That's what these companies care about, but it doesn't seem like they want to do that.
Has Google really done like a Netflix style model? Like, I'd say the closest thing they have is YouTube, but they bought that off of somebody else.
You might be right. I know they have Google Play Music, which is now YouTube Music. That is a pay per month, you get access to everything model. It's just not games, but it's music. So they've dabbled in it. But you're right. There must be a money issue where it's just not financially doable. At the same time, if you go this route, you don't get any subscribers and the whole thing fails. So it's like, which one do you want to do here? So I don't know. It is dead, pretty much dead in the water. But I think they could have had success if they let you pay $5 a month, $10 a month, and you get access to all these games. Even if they're older games, I would have got that.
I mean, I still love like now that I want to know more about. I did see an article. I was looking into XCloud. I'm like, when's that coming to browser and PC? And it sounds like they're testing out to hopefully bring it out
I think
soon.
you're right. Yeah, I saw that.
And there are a lot of these games where I bet again, like Killer Queen Black. Like I'm gonna have a hard enough time to get you to spend the whole 10 minutes to download it. But
It's
if
a
it
lot of laziness.
literally took 30 seconds to boot
Right.
from xCloud, I could probably get you to play it. I could
Yeah.
probably get you to play a lot of dumb shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You remove the hurdle, and it's not even a big hurdle, but if you remove that having to download and wait and forget you bought it or whatever, you start playing it right then and there. I can get a lot of people playing stuff.
I'd probably check out almost everything in that thing if it's that low risk, as
Yeah.
long as you let me bring back my save file
Right.
when I want to download it locally.
That's another fault to this is that Xbox has this, they do it better. PlayStation Now even has that, they do it better. So Stadia is competing with these big dogs, and they can't do all the things they do, even bare minimum, and like compete with them. So it's like if you can't overthrow them or at least compete on their level, then there's no way you're gonna. And so there's no point.
That does remind me, small side note, that's only sort of related, but I saw a tweet the other day listing off like all the games that are exclusive to Xbox this year.
Is there a good amount of
It's a
them?
lot more than I thought. I also didn't realize Deep Rock Galactic, which I've been playing, is Xbox and PC only.
Oh,
I had no clue. We're getting that. I think Medium is as well.
you're right about that. Yeah, there is possible stuff that leaked with the special edition controller for the medium that's Xbox, but it has the PlayStation symbols on the box. So everyone was thinking online, does that mean they either lazily like kept the PlayStation symbols on there and then it's coming to PlayStation eventually, or somebody printed that on their own? I don't know, but at least that's one where maybe it's just timed. But yeah, no, Xbox is making some big moves. This is the year I think we're going to see a lot of that stuff come to fruition that they've been planning for a while.
Yeah, it's got. I mean, we've been waiting a while since they threw all that money
Yeah,
at the canvas.
yeah. And
So
then Bethesda, we're still yet to see that exclusive stuff kick in, so it's going to be nuts. But again, we got the next one here. CDPR
so
hackers reportedly sell Cyberpunk 2077 code following $7 million auction. So yeah, it's they can't catch a break. Quick blurb here from Destructoid. Chris Moyes has the article. Last week, we reported how CD Projekt Red had run afoul of a targeted cyber attack with a party of unknown persons reportedly stealing staggering amounts of data from the Polish developer. The hacker group, calling itself Hello Kitty, tried to ransom the stolen data to CDPR. This weekend, it was reported by cyber intelligence group Hella that Hello Kitty held an auction on the dark web where it allegedly sold the source code for Cyberpunk 2077. Hella reports the sale had an opening bid of 1 million USD and a sale price of $70 million. How do you feel about this, Gavin? They seem to there's just one bummer after the other with CDPR.
it sure is. It's also weird that like doing an auction for something digital, because what's to literally stop him from just or them to from just selling it again?
You're right. I read, and I guess it's just honor code among thieves or whatever. But I read that part of that deal is you have to agree to not sell it or share this again. It's like it goes to one buyer. But how the hell are you going to like regulate that? You can't. It's on the dark web, literally. So there's no like honor code with them. But apparently,
Yeah, that's and I worry about like all the financial information because the biggest
oh
thing is
sure,
like, yeah, you may be mad at like the heads of CD Project Red, but there's a lot of innocent parties there. They could ruin a lot of lives. So it has me saddened.
yeah. None of this justifies the or is justified by the anger that people had with how they rolled it out. It's like you can be angry and should be, but direct that towards the people that made those decisions and not like punishing people that work at CDPR. And if their information is tied up in this data leak or data hack and their whole lives are thrown out of whack, and it's just not worth it. And it's not the proper way to respond. You know what I mean? But people on the internet, they just freak out and overreact and do stuff like this. I don't know what you do, man. Have you said you've yet to beat it, but I know you played it after some of the updates. Has it improved at all for you? Is it basically the same? Yeah.
I forget what update, but I've ran like basically bug free, which surprised me. So it's been running incredibly smoothly. A lot of the bugs are gone. It fixed, so I was finally able to start doing those like death races again.
Oh, right.
So I'm guessing I'm probably 20 minutes from the end. I basically have to do, well, want to do before I complete it, but I need to do the race. I need to finish up the mission with like the hunky guy with the fur coat.
Oh, I forget his name, man. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's got the fake eye,
Yeah.
and then I need to do the missions with the vending machine, and I want to reunite the band,
Oh, yeah.
which I hear is great and shouldn't be skipped. And then I'm done.
Did you
Then
see some
I'm
of the
guessing that'll take
mods
20 minutes or 20.
20 minutes away? Did you see some of the mods enabled you to have sex with Keanu Reeves and CD Power was very angry?
That you could have sex with Keanu
Yeah.
Reeves.
They're very upset that people were modding that
How
in
does
the
that
game.
work? Does it just switch? I would think you just like switch cameras in that scene where you have that weird,
Oh, when you play
crazy
as him?
sex scene,
Yeah.
and is that what it
No, it
is?
just crudely takes his model, which was never, like, guess, made to animate this way, and puts it on one of the robot hookers you can get, and so you're just doing it with him that way. But nothing, like,
So on board
clicks
with this.
together, so it looks really yeah, it looks really rough, but CD Power was just like, "No, how dare you? Let's." Who cares, man?
I guess, yeah, and they're doing stuff with mod support, which I didn't think this game was getting, but I'm
Yeah,
not really sure what happened with the
I
mods.
think they're enabled. It was just that one that at least got attention that they were angry about that, but
Sure, why not?
that's why they got hacked. I mean, come on. People want their Keanu Reeves sex
That
scenes.
Keanu Reeves dick.
Queen Bunny in the chat does bring up a good point. Hackers are just techno goths, which I think I agree with that.
Sure.
Those listening to The Cure and they're hacking, Tesla or whatever.
Tool, dude. They're listening to
Oh,
Tool.
sorry.
That same soundscape for
From a different era. So. Alrighty, Gavin. This one is a weird story and it's kind of a bummer and very dumb. Warner Bros. Finally secures patent for Shadow of Mordor's Nemesis system. So this is James Batchelor of GamesIndustry.biz. Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment has been issued a patent for the Nemesis AI system found in Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor, and it's secret. According to IGN, the patent protects the Nemesis characters, Nemesis forts, social vendettas, and followers in computer games. The patent will go into effect on February 23rd, and provided they continue paying the fees, could be maintained until 2035. Any developers who build game features that include all the above aspects are enough to risk infringing on the patent, must purchase a license from Warner Bros. How do you feel about devs or publishers patenting, game mechanic?
uh it's been out of control for a long time.
Mm,
Like we need enough to protect people from like when like there's a Chinese knockoff of Overwatch that is identical. Although slightly worse in other ways. But yeah, like this has, especially the social vendetta. I was actually watching, I just keep having to watch stuff. I was watching this morning Game Maker's Toolkit on how the
mm,
Nemesis worked, and he even mentions in that they've had like a patent pending on this for a while. So that's why people haven't really gone close.
right.
Kind of surprised Watchdog Legion went as close as it did. There's also an indie game that does something sort of similar that I'm kind of surprised I was willing to put that, or maybe they didn't know about it. Um, but yeah, the way the social vendetta works is this incredibly complex thing. And they will do for certain situations if they want to pump up the story. Maybe you're dealing with these orcs you haven't dealt with.
Yeah.
They'll bring back the orc that you've dealt with the most. And also, the orc that you've dealt with the most is most likely to have like good luck or weird luck and just get more interesting in the story. So it's
Gotcha.
incredibly complex what they've done. So it's sad to see that sort of be off limits. I don't know the extent, but it sounds like it was a pretty general purpose.
Yeah, and it's I guess since WB as a whole owns the rights to this now, has patented it, so maybe it can appear in other WB licensed games. So it's not just like in the Shadow of Mordor series, because we haven't seen one of these games in a long time. I know people really dig them, but at the heart of it, I don't like the idea of publishers, developers, patenting a game mechanic. Like I feel like once it's kind of been cracked, it's out there and people can dissect it and turn it into something else and put their own spin on it. But the idea of like locking it out seems nuts to me. Although I guess you can pay a fee to Warner Bros. I don't know what that fee is going to look like or how expensive it's going to be. Right, almost making it like not doable for a lot of devs. But then that means that all this kind of cool creativity that could have spring from that idea is now killed because you patented that idea.
It really sucks.
Yeah,
So hopefully it doesn't affect too much. Hopefully this means they're going to use it more because, to my knowledge, I don't think they've used it on anything since. So it'd
yeah,
suck if they were just doing this so they could stop other
right. It's
or
like okay, you patented it. Okay, let's see more of this. Not like okay, we own it. We'll see you later. It's like what? At least put this in other games that you own. Then
and that's the other thing on too. So doing like a Nemesis style system is super hard and time consuming. So if you take something that's super hard and time consuming and add expensive to it as well,
Mm.
fuck that. No one's gonna do it.
No.
Oh,
Well, let's keep rolling with something more expensive, Gavin. This is E3 pushes forward with plans for a digital 2021 event. So this is from Andy Robinson of Video Games Chronicle. The ESA's intention is to hold multiple 2-hour keynote sessions from games partners on award show, a June 14 preview night, and other smaller streams from game publishers, influencers, and media partners. So I did butcher that sentence because I think I took it out of a weird context. But the E3 plans are to go forward in 2021 with a digital event. They have some news they're talking about with what they intend to go with the future of this. It's going to be streaming, of course, but now some little blurbs from this article from Video Games Chronicle. Jeff Keighley would not be involved again. He's going to do the Summer Game Fest. No details on how many have signed up yet, as far as like publishers, developers. So here's the weird part. So apparently a 6-figure sum is required to join the program. So if you want to have a digital presence here, it's going to be in this weird 6-figure sum just to be a part of the the band, the part of the experience. Um, Now it's pretty weird because why would you put any money to this as a big company, as a console manufacturer, as a publisher, as a developer? Why would you do that when you can just do a streaming event? Like that's what 2020 showed us. Everyone put out all the big guns online, and they had huge success doing it. But why would you pay anything towards this?
um, it's like that's the model. they've been doing for years, I assume. Like, we even did that so with our company, we, every year we have an expo, and this year we held the digital expo, and we still charge people for booths.
Hmm.
So, I
Now,
always kinda
okay,
if you're the big dog and you can make that demand, people will pay it. Usually it pays itself back. The other thing too is it shouldn't be as bad because they're not having to build these super expensive booths. They're still probably gonna have to make specialized builds. Um, but
it shouldn't it be cheaper then in theory than because you don't have to build anything. You're right, but then the barrier to entry is so high with this six figure sum. I'm not sure how much it is. Hopefully not on the end of that six figure sum. But to get in for these, really, you're paying for eyes to see your game, right? But I mean, they launched Xbox, PS5 this year, all with digital events that they held on their own. But why would you need to really join with the ESA to do an E3 event when you can just, if you're a big publisher, put out your own event and show everything there? Like Resident Evil 7 was shown off in their event on their own.
I mean, it's definitely been dying for I mean, that's the thing. There's not really been a place for E3 anymore. I love it as a gamer. It's sort of our Christmas Super Bowl event. But that being said, like even the Game Awards have taken some of the
Yeah.
stank off of E3. So it's
And I have no idea if I imagine there's a price barrier to entry for sure. But if anything, it's got to be cheaper to deal with Jeff Keighley.
ooh, are we talking about this
You reading ahead here, Gavin?
Dishonored booth right here? God damn.
That is pretty cool. But unless you go to E3, it's like then you don't get to experience this. And I've never been to an E3. I've had a slight desire to go, but I'm also not bummed that this thing goes away
Right.
at the end of the day.
Cool looking. But yeah, this is
They did put a
gonna
bunch of money
be
into this stuff.
very expensive to make.
Oh, for sure. It's got a transparent touchscreen with like stuff from the game behind it.
What
That's
the
dope. That's for sure dope.
absolute heck? Wow. There's also like transporting beyond just building these booths, transporting all your computers, which are expensive, your monitors,
Sure.
your gaming chair. A lot of people, it's too expensive to send back the chair, so they'll just give them away to people at the thing.
You just hang out after when they're trying to clean up
Yeah, that's a pro tip right there.
and drag
Um,
this chair back to your hotel or
I
whatever.
mean, usually the people live in the city or
Oh, gotcha,
whatever, or
gotcha.
drove there. Um,
Yeah, but I mean, it's a thing. I don't know. It just seems like they'd want to make it as easier or even easier for publishers to like jump on board because that ship is sinking. But it seems like instead they're making it harder, more expensive to have a presence there. So
$100,000, unless maybe, just maybe, they're gonna do that streaming thing that I've been asking for years now.
I thought about you when I read this too. It's like that could be dope if they do that this year. I don't think they ever will. Or I think if it happens, it's gonna be another, big company to do.
I think with Microsoft testing on PC and whatchamacallit, I think we're ready this year finally. God, I just want to be right. I'm gonna call it every year until it happens. Like when it happens 5 years from now, it's not even gonna look cool when I get it right.
Well,
It already won't look cool if I get it right.
no, I think eventually when that does happen, where they're having a big event, whether it's Game Awards or what have you, and they say tonight all these games are playable now, and these are like current gen, next gen games, I think that's gonna just be insane. And so, yeah, keep guessing that every year because when it does hit, it's gonna be big.
Do we have anything in the chat we need to?
Oh, we got some nerds in the chat saying random stuff to each other, talking about John Wick. There's a Keanu Reeves rather going on. Um, yes, Ubisoft Super Spreader from Ultima Zord. I don't know what that means. You know what? There was a slight thing with Ubisoft in the news with Rainbow Six, which was called Quarantine before. I guess they're changing the name to something
Oh, I
else.
remember that. That was like last week. I think that's a great call.
Yeah, you can't. You want to move
Yeah.
away from Corona as much as possible. Yeah, so you can't be calling it quarantine.
Yeah, 100% agree. That was also a thing I was watching on Dishonored. Is like Dishonored hits different in 2020.
Oh, sure. Even Last of Us came out during the pandemic too. It's like
Yeah.
this world's been ravaged by this disease, and yeah, it's tough now. It does. Gavin, we got the next one here is about Mass Effect and the Ultimate Edition. So we got Ass Affected, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, just leering shots of Miranda Lawson. So if you're not familiar with the clip, which I'm not, I watched for the first time and it's pretty ridiculous, but there's some controversy with the changes that they're doing to the Ultimate Edition. This is Chris Moyes of Destructoid. Incoming remaster of Mass Effect Legendary Edition will feature a whole host of overhauled features from the admittedly aging original release. Speaking in a recent interview with Metro, project director Matt Walters noted that they will tweak a selection of cinematic camera angles, particularly ones that may present some of the characters in a gratuitous or unflattering light. So this is one of the main characters, Miranda something or other. And here's one of the most obvious like things that they need to tweak. So you're having this kind of intimate or like important conversation, and they choose some interesting camera angle.
I don't remember her face looking that bad in this. Game always looks better in my head.
Yeah. So she needs you to find her sister, and for some reason they just pan to her butt right there and hold it too.
Right where the
And it's a great butt. Like no one's complaining. It's just it's the angle, and it's like it's obvious they're doing what they're doing. Where it's like, come on.
right. I think there are more scenes like this.
Yeah, there are.
Um, so yeah, I get why they changed it. The other thing too, though, that's exciting, and yeah, people are kind of unavoidable. People are kind of butthurt about this,
Heyo.
but it sounds like a lot of the comment sections I went through on it were just kind of like, I don't remember these shots being that bad, but they're worse than I remember.
Yeah.
But we were just like, horny teenagers at the
Right.
time.
I think the devs too were just like, just dudes in a room.
Yeah.
Let's see
Oh,
if
the
anybody.
girl from Chuck's butt. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, the glowy eyes. But I'm excited to actually play this because I hear they're gonna fix the shit. I hated the gameplay in one.
Yeah,
Absolutely
apparently
hated
that's
it.
the roughest one, and it looks like they're taking it seriously and adjusting it.
Yeah, so I may finally finish one.
Same here. I've this is a series that people love to death, and I've never really played them. I think I tried the second one at some point. Just gonna get into it, so I am on board to see this remaster, have everything tweaked and kind of quality of life stuff updated.
I think one of the biggest disappointments that I've kind of heard for this new one is so they announced that they weren't able to fit the multiplayer in,
Right? Yeah.
and a lot of people are saying like, yeah, like the multiplayer was actually really good.
Oh,
So
okay.
I think it was like a wave based co op thing,
Gotcha.
sort of like a horde mode, but I guess
Was that introduced in the second one?
yes.
Gotcha. Yeah, at least with these like strong single player stuff, I don't think it needs to have the multiplayer. But if they nail it, cool. But like say The Last of Us had that and Uncharted had that, I know people really love those multiplayer aspects of it, but that's just not what I need when the focus is the single player experience.
This was also very much in the age of when 2 came out of every game needs a multiplayer mode.
Mm, yeah,
This was probably the
for
most
sure.
unnecessary, but it was fun, so yeah.
Now, Bagans throw some heat at you saying, "Quit trying to make Chuck happen, Gavin. It's not going to happen." Because you made a Chuck reference. Is that lady a voice actress that's in the show Chuck?
And she's yeah, so she's his, like, pseudo girlfriend until
Oh, okay.
eventually she becomes his girlfriend. I actually haven't watched that much of Chuck. I probably watched, I'm gonna guess, like, season 3 and
Okay.
4 or something
Because
like
you like to
that.
find these terrible shows and claim that they're like Oscar award winning. Was it like Suits or whatever? Or Better Off Ted? Better Off Ted. That's what it was. Yeah,
Shut your
yeah,
mouth.
yeah. Gavin, I love you, but
Hear you speak a foul of Better Off Ted without giving it a proper shot.
I will not. Gavin, I got some cool games just to show you as we round it out. This one is just another trailer for this really dope looking game. It's called Black Myth Wukong.
Get it in my veins.
Yeah, so this is what I find mind blowing is this is still UE4, so it's Unreal Engine 4. I would assume this is like next gen, Unreal Engine 5 tech, but this is all done on stuff that's accessible now, but it just looks crazy beautiful. So it's a Chinese developer, I forget the name of them, but I don't think we have any idea on the time frame. I say let them keep cooking it for as long as they need. And wait.
That is
Yeah, just the animations, the particle effects, the lighting is insane. Like, what?
reminds me. Now I realize this game is Chinese. I'm thinking of Japanese, but I was thinking about Neo 2 came out on PC
Oh,
recently. I was thinking about getting it, trying out like a proper Soulsborne.
yeah. See, I want to love it, but those games are so hard. I'm such a baby. I'll never be able to. That's so many particles. Looks like a tech demo.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Now I wonder, it's running good here, but like, what is the PC? What are the PC requirements going to be? Is it going to be like an insane demanding game, or have they optimized it? I want to say they talked about current gen consoles for this. PS5, Xbox Series. Yeah, if they can at least get it on current gen and PC, then this would be dope. Got the RTX on full display right there.
Oh yeah, you got stuff.
Yeah, that fire, the lighting with the fire and the particles is insane.
Oof.
And this also looks not so much Soulsborne, more arcadey, and that's my jam. That's what I gravitate towards, not the super like just twist your balls in a vice kind of gameplay.
If I were to guess, I'd say this is less of like a Souls game. I don't think it's a Souls game. I think this is going to be more like a Ninja Gaiden or like a Devil May Cry. I'd say more like a Ninja Gaiden than a Devil May Cry, but I think this is going to be I think it's going to be a hack and slash.
Yeah, it seems more like it.
Awesome. And it's gorgeous. The particle effects actually remind me a lot of the newest God of War.
Oh,
'Cause
sure.
that had shit tons of
Oh, you know what that got, and that makes me want to play that game again. There was a PS5 upgrade for it, so it's running in 4K and 60 frames per second, and it's just even more beautiful on PS. The game is so dope. But I booted it up just to try because it was a free update, and I found myself right in front of this Valkyrie that I never beat apparently, and I almost
Oh, your
beat.
save file rolled over?
Yeah, save file rolled over. I almost beat this Valkyrie having not played this game for like 8, 10 months. I was feeling pretty good, but I of course died. But I got super close to beating this thing and still didn't even understand the controls still. But I was able to get almost pretty close to getting this Valkyrie dead.
I call
Uh,
that uh the Rock Band effect. Because that would happen every time with Rock Band or Guitar
Interesting.
Hero. I wouldn't play it for like a month or
Yeah,
two, come back, and all of a sudden, why can I beat this now?
yeah. It's like you. I guess you need a break every once in a while. I'll never forget. This is not that long ago. It was with Super Mario Odyssey. I was trying to get all the moons and trying to complete the dark side of the moon or the darker side of the moon missions that are crazy hard. So they're at the end of the game where you go to the moon and you can. There's like these advanced super hard levels. Remember that? So they're like painfully hard and it's a lot of trial and error. But I had my niece and nephew over and I was spending the night just like trying to beat it, kept dying. I just put it aside, went to bed. I woke up and I, booted it up. They're right next to me again. The first try, I beat it. And I was just like, I wanted to punch a wall and run through the city and get the key from the mayor. Like I felt on top of the world. But it was just like for some reason, I guess I just took a break, let it soak in, and then nailed it first try. So I don't think I've ever reached that high since, and I'm always chasing that. But it was a glorious time. Megan in the
Never
chat
dies.
says, Aaron, my nephew, beat those levels. I don't think he beat the darker side of the moon because he would snap his switch in half if he did.
They plugged in his controllers, but just let you have
Yeah, there's a little brother moment where you're just playing with it. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
We covered Breath of the Wild, sort of.
Yep. He's actually knee deep into Breath of the Wild. He loves that game. It's pretty dope to see him. But
But we have something.
yeah, so this one here is Super Mario. It's an RTX mod. So I'm going to show you this guy.
How the heck? I can already see
I
it
don't
working.
know,
That's insane. The other question I would have. Ooh, man,
right?
that looks so strange. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's done. I know I have the user here. I'm going to scroll down for a second. Dario on YouTube has the actual video. Some kind of homebrewed, mod.
I think this is actual emulation. I don't know how that's possible. I don't think this is like a remake in Unreal.
Well, we pulled it up. It was a while ago, but someone somehow had added ray tracing to a Super Nintendo game through like mods and stuff on PC. So it's like this is doable with these weird workarounds that I do not understand.
To a Super Nintendo game.
Yes.
What kind of game was it?
It was like
Oh,
a
was it
demo or
Star
something.
Fox or
Something
something?
like that, but they were able to get like real time ray tracing in it.
Wow, this looks so strange.
Dope. You're doing half the work for that Nintendo would have to do to actually bring this thing back to life. Because they did add this to that trilogy remaster a couple months ago, but it was just like the same ROM, on your Switch. But this is like lighting improved, ray tracing in there,
And what a perfect level to man, this is
right?
definitely emulation. I wow. Wow. Wow.
Exactly.
Uh it also looks so strange because it's like this cartoony kind of primitive 3D game with this lighting and shadow
Yeah.
that my brain
With the
doesn't know what
ultra
to do with.
realistic lighting.
What in the heck?
I remember this level being way larger than it is right now, but I guess just as at the time, it was kind of mind blowing.
Well,
But
there's a secret secondary part as
no,
well.
you're right. But like this part in general, I thought was just like super, crazy large, but apparently it's just tiny little room.
Oh, and that fraction looks great with the wow. Uh This was something I've been trying to find. I've yet to find anyone that's done it. So they have that technology on the RTX cards where you can take a low resolution image and it'll keep oh, that looked cool. It'll keep upscaling and upscaling and upscaling until but it keeps fixing the image.
Oh,
And
like
I would
enhance, like on every like CSI show where they enhance. No,
I mean, you're kind of right. But yeah, so like it'll take a low resolution image and make it look better at a higher resolution, and that's super helpful when you're doing RTX because then you do a low resolution RTX, but then upscale it.
Okay, for the
Um,
reflection thing, or
just for the resolution in general. So
oh,
you can render something that's at 720p and you can render it at proper 1080p. You can take something that's at 1440p and have it properly render at 4K. It's a really cool piece of technology that's only in RTX right now, and I've been curious to see why. I want to see somebody upscale a Nintendo 64 game or like a GameCube game or something like that, and I haven't seen it, but I really want to see that with like in a Mario 64. Can we just fix emulation with this technology? I don't.
maybe.
Probably not, but
Well, Megan also throws some heat your way, Gavin. She says she's just commenting on you, saying, "Oh, there's a secret part," with little nerd emojis. I'm butchering it, but talking. It's easy to do, Gavin. So this is that thing I was telling you about. So this is a Twitch streamer who has completed Zelda Breath of the Wild with no hits at all, 100% completed it. So what's a Joe Dunn is the Twitch streamer here. So it's a long video, but he does. I was going to scroll through and show how he's able to actually do this. Super long, but yeah, he actually goes in detail and talks about the not the hacks,
what the glitch is
the
that?
glitches. Yeah, so that's like the moon
Whoa!
jump or something where you can kind of just endlessly jump. I don't know how he does it, but
I
yeah,
mean, it's not even using stamina.
right. But yeah, he can't take any hits, but he has to also collect every item in the game and basically like 100% complete the game. It's insane. But he talked about how there's easier parts to do, but it's I guess the last Hyrule challenge or when you go to the castle that it's just like incredibly hard and a lot of resetting there.
Sure.
But it took a couple months to finally get this.
Be interesting to see what armor. I do remember watching. There was a streamer I met and started doing no armor runs in
Of
Breath of the
Zelda?
Wild. Yeah, and that was interesting. But this is that taken to a whole different level.
It's cool that people want to do this. I just have zero desire. Like if anything, I like to make games easier and not harder. But I love that this exists out there, and I just highly respect it. But I have no desire to. And it takes like a special kind of insane person to try this.
Yeah, it.
You got to really hate yourself to be. You know what? I want to try and complete this game without getting hit once.
Well, and no hit runs especially are like I'm a big fan of that guy that no hit runs the Dark Souls
That's
games,
extra
and
insane. Yeah.
there's all these little spots where if you time it just barely wrong, you read something wrong. There can be an enemy coming from a weird angle that'll get you from with an arrow from off screen. There's so many things that can go wrong,
Oh yeah.
especially when you're doing this. Geez, that is that is madness. So good on them.
Good on them. It's nuts to do, and he did it. So
That's gonna be because this is so long because they're doing 100%. Uh, good luck to anyone else who wants to speed run this.
sure.
Um, but I forget what B was.
He mentioned beating the final boss, Ganon. You can do this trick where you basically shoot the wall in the right timing to where once he spawns in, he's just bombarded by bombs that just keep spawning. So he basically dies before he loads into the game. And it's just like another quick, not hack, but like a glitch to use to complete the game. You can use all the glitches you want. It's still insane to accomplish.
That's right. Is it seriously like 1,000 Koroks in this game?
I think there's a lot. So there might be. Yeah. So
Over 100 shrines? I didn't even know there was over 100.
that's the thing. There's so much in this game, and I forgot to bring it up with tomorrow. If we do see some Zelda 2, Breath of the Wild 2 news, what if they don't? There isn't this new mechanic like you mentioned, the tablet or whatever. What if it's just more challenge missions or challenge levels like we got in Breath of the Wild? Would you be mad at that?
I would not, but I mean that's Nintendo. They won't do it unless they can do something new or put a
True.
new twist on it. So, which
Yeah,
is why we have trouble with Paper Mario games. But
that is very true. Yeah, and then especially taking like 3 or 4 years to just do more you know challenge mission. That'd be weird.
I think the thing that's definitely got me really excited, I still remember when they did like a mass hiring for level designers, and I'm sure they already had a ton from Breath of the Wild. So I think this is going to have way more creative, elaborate levels and areas and dungeons and just overworld stuff. I think we're going 2000 Koroks this time. We're going 200 shrines, more elaborate cities. I think this is going to be, part of me wants to be like they're going to have to put this on 2 different carts.
Yeah.
It's going to be so big, or download only, but
They'll shrink it down and fit it in there. But one thing that adds more strength to the rumors of us seeing something with Zelda tomorrow is this is the 35th anniversary this year of Zelda, the whole franchise, and I want to say it's this month or within the next couple months. So it's like perfect timing. Let's get it out there. So you get me hyped. I didn't want to get hyped for a new Zelda because I thought it's just not going to happen anytime soon. But you get me hyped, Kevin. If they don't reveal it, I'm going to blame you.
I've been very reserved for on Nintendo for a very long time. This is the time to go nuts. It's happening. It's just happening.
Kevin, I'm checking in on the chat here. We got Ultima Zord saying Triple X Mario After Dark. So I don't know what the hell the chat devolved into,
Sure.
but it's a lot of some
Rule
adult
34,
themes.
bud. Rule 34.
It exists.
I think that's so. I know we've gone pretty long. How long?
Yeah, we can end it here.
But we should probably. Oh, did you have something else?
No.
I think the question is, what other announcements do we get for Nintendo? Like we kind of mentioned, they basically gotten everything off of Wii U that needed off of Wii U.
Yeah.
So what else? Wild, crazy predictions. Do we see Metroid?
That's the one. Yep.
It's been in development hell for a while, but maybe.
I think if anything, we get an image or a very short teaser, but I wouldn't imagine any more than that. It'd be dope, but I think they're still going to take their time with that. I think it's still, we're way off from like a Switch 2. I don't think, because every month the Switch is selling like gangbusters and almost outselling current gen, last gen consoles. So it's like there's no need right now, or not like they just started developing. It's been developing for a while if they do have it, but I think they can hold that off for a while because it's selling like hotcakes. So they don't need to. But some software stuff, yeah. Hopefully Metroid teaser. I'm trying to rack my brain of what else is out there. A trilogy for Zelda, maybe a Zelda Maker would be dope. I know that's hard to do. And there, I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that I'm forgetting. They've talked about coming out at some point.
I'm saying it's been a long time since we've had like a Mario sports game. I think Mario Tennis came out not too long ago, but maybe like a Strikers or something.
Sure, yeah, one of those.
Call them one of
Party
those.
themed, yeah. Maybe some Donkey Kong. What was it? Tropical Freeze, the last one? It came to Switch.
Yeah, but that's being Rare. I think Rare's working on the new Metroid.
Oh, are they? I forget.
And they're the ones that made the last Donkey Kong games.
Gotcha.
Oh, I had one. I mean, definitely, they said for sure they're showing off Smash Bros. Stuff.
Yeah, there's a character reveal, right?
Yeah, I'm calling out 2 character reveals. Man, I just don't.
Your mom's one of them.
The Wii Fit trainer's already in there. It's a weird thing to say, but I don't know where to go with it.
It's a compliment. If your mom's listening, it's a compliment.
Yeah, so I'm saying a sports title, definitely Zelda. I think that's just it's weird that that's a safe bet.
You know what? Master Chief always gets thrown in there because Microsoft and Nintendo always have that relationship, but he's way more M-rated. But yeah, there is that as a.
It is weird though when we call that M-rated, and like going back and playing the Master Chief collection, and you look at the original.
Oh, they're very tame. Yeah.
Ooh, that is some vanilla blood.
Yeah. Well, it's like Mortal Kombat, the original. We used to, we'd have press conference or like trial hearings on the violence in that game. But
like Halo has blood, but I feel like Fortnite is more violent, even though it doesn't have blood.
A lot more guns and death. Yeah. Although it's cartoony, but you had John Wick in there somehow. Yeah, Gavin will end it there. You know what? Megan does have a guest for that new Smash character, Halle Berry.
Yeah. She's also going to be joining
Even Stevens.
Animal Crossing. Oh, and probably an Animal Crossing announcement while we're at it.
Ooh, more DLC or yeah,
some events or something.
That free. Game was huge last year, so sales wise, so wouldn't doubt it.
Maybe something. Oh, I'm gonna say something from the Splatoon team, not Splatoon, but something from them.
Something else interesting, yeah, because Splatoon 2 was a good while ago.
Yeah.
So that could be cool.
I don't think we've seen anything from the Luigi's Mansion team either. So they got a bunch of teams that, I mean, I haven't touched my Switch in a long while.
Right.
Or my Nintendo Switch. But yeah, I think it's time.
Yeah. You know what? It's not, I'm sure there's no evidence or any, credence for this to happen, but Pikmin, I always dug Pikmin. I feel like it's a good time to bring that back. A nice little Pikmin game.
Sure. People have been begging for it for a long time now.
At least one guy out there. Me, I'm the other guy who would like another Pikmin game, but it is what it is.
There's people out there.
All right, Gavin, we'll end it today, right now for this week. Where can they find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Drunk Devs.
Awesome. You can keep up with the show as well on Twitter at PlasticBoi. That is it for this it for us this week. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.